Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is V Budgets. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you haven't watched any of my videos yet, I'm quite new to the YouTube community, so thank you so much to everybody who has been so friendly and welcoming. It's been a little nerve-wracking, but really exciting. I've been, it's that whole long-time listener, first-time caller. That's literally me as part of this community. I've been watching videos for quite a while now. I would say probably 3 to 4 months before I decided to start my own channel. Even just starting to watch people's videos and watch people's journeys started me on this path of really focusing on my finances and trying to get my crap in order, and focus on the future and just learn more about, cash budgeting and the benefits of it. And I think I've really come up with a good solid base to start from this year. 2023, as you may have already noticed if you've watched any of my previous videos, that I kind of give an overview of who I am, where I'm at in my life, and what my goals are for this year. My biggest goal, of course, is to knock out my short-term debt, which I'm sure and I know because I've watched pretty much everyone's videos, that is the goal of most people. Or at least how most people started on YouTube, and they just keep they keep thriving. Sorry, it's been a long day. I just finished work and I'm filming this. So, people start out on their debt journeys and then they grow further into just overall wealth building. So I'm really excited to get started. So thank you so much again. I'm going to go over my existing debts as of February 2023. Today is, what is the date today? Today is the 6th of February. And all these debts are as of today's date. I checked the balances today. So this is my most current debt picture. So I will give an overview of the type of debt it is. Again, I won't get detailed as to what cards I have, things like that. I'm not going to be doing that on this channel, at least not right now, because I'm new and I'm just not comfortable yet sharing that much information. But, I will quantify what type of debt it is, how much is owing, and then the interest rate. I will quickly go over each debt, and I'm going to write everything down first. I want you to hold on as I go through the video. I am going to quickly go through and write everything down first, because honestly too, this angle, I'm someone who writes like this naturally. So I'm going to get everything written down first, and then we're going to have a chat time. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to chat with you as to why I'm in this debt, not giving excuses, but just, again, giving a background, because I've really benefited from hearing many of your debt journeys and your struggles and what debt has meant to you in the past. And I think this part of the journey is really important. It's important almost as forgiving yourself, not forgiving yourself, but having compassion for my previous self who was in this situation. And, I know Dave Ramsey calls it stupid tax, which, sometimes that's funny to use and sometimes I don't like that term. It depends on the situation, but, that's another thing that I'm really trying to have more in 2023 is, one, overall respect for money. That is something that I'm really working on every day. And number 2 is compassion for myself, compassion for my ups and downs throughout my financial journey, compassion for the journey that I'm going to be going on, because I know I'm not going to be perfect. I know I'm going to screw up a couple times, and that's okay. But being more conscious of the steps that I'm taking and why I'm doing this, I'm hoping will give me more success. So without any more await, because I know, let's be honest, everyone's just watching for the numbers. I'm sorry, I'm just going to take a really quick sip of water because I'm talking so fast. I'm going to put the water away because I'm going to knock it over with my arm and let's get into this. So again, just to reiterate, I'm going to list all of my debts out first, and then I will kind of give more of a little bit of a story time, I guess you could call it. So short-term debt, I've quantified this as debts that my goal is to pay them off within 1 to 1.5 years. Number 1 And I am listing this from smallest to largest balance, not interest rate, balance. So my first, and again, you might have heard me in another video talk about this book and why I'm choosing to do this book instead of, I also have these budget by paycheck, smaller books to use, which are great. And I like the guidance that's in them, but I'm a big writer, as you can see. So this is what we're doing today. So my first is and again, I'm trying to add the purpose of what each loan is onto it. So my first credit card, which is a home credit card, which I'll explain later, currently sits at $480. And the interest rate of this is 19%. Again, we're using the side column today, guys, because look at how big that one is. Like, why do I write so big? I don't understand myself sometimes. 2. Let's save some space. We're going to use some acronyms here. Credit card. You guys understand. Computer credit card. Look, now I'm going to be able to actually use the rest of the of the page. So my next debt from smallest to largest balance owing is $2,242 on a credit card for my computer. I bought an iMac in the fall. Many reasons. I haven't talked about it on this channel. Maybe one day I will, but I have a Etsy and a Shopify store for digital products that actually need like an actual like proper graphic. I do actual graphic work, so I need a really good computer. So I had to get a new one because my other one crapped out on me. And this interest rate is at 6.9% currently. My third is my student loan. And this is through, I'm learning more as I'm watching a lot of you. And of course, many of you are in the States. And, when you guys say private or federal loans, things like that, my student loan it's a joint loan through the provincial and the federal governments. And it is a Prime Plus loan. So the base of the loan is whatever the Canadian prime interest rate is, plus, on top of that. So right now it's 7.7%. Last year it was in the 5s. So it's obviously gone up. And sorry, that is $3,490. Number 4. So number 4 is my home. Again, trying to capture what the use is. Home personal loan. And as of today, okay, I love this pen, but I think it's just the angle that I'm writing at, that it's not cooperating. This sits at $4,349. I'm really proud of myself. I actually put $1,000 of this in January on this loan, which feels awesome. But as you're about to see, before I write down this interest rate, that a lot of that is going to get eaten up in interest. But you know what? I just got to keep pushing. I got to keep grinding and putting money on this puppy. This is at 36.9%. This is my absolute worst piece of debt and has been a real struggle. So we will definitely, I promise you, we will talk about that in a second. So the next one is personal CC. So I guess that would technically be my third credit card. Personal, I say, because this one's just been a mix of everything. A little bit of home, a little bit of personal, a little bit of travel, a little bit of just total BS when I was younger. And this one currently sits at $8,760. And this interest rate is 19.99%. So these are my short term. So let's total up the short term here. I'm hoping the glare isn't too bad on the ring light. I'm sorry if it is. 3,490, 4,349 plus 8, 760 equals $19,321 in short term. Woo, that's a lot. But again, I feel quite good about it. I put overall about $1,700 of debt, or sorry, $1,700 towards debt in January. So I know I'm on the right path. I will talk about my like debt payoff plan in my next video. I'm actually going to probably film that tonight. Just wanted to give a general debt overview for now, but stay tuned. I would love it if you would subscribe to be notified once I upload that video. So short term, we're looking at 19,321. And then long term, I am going to, and I know a lot of people don't really care very much about these types of debts on these channels, but I am going to list my mortgage because you know what, this is more, you know, this exercise of course is, I'm doing this for your entertainment, but also this is really important as part of my journey. So I am listing this. As of today, my mortgage sits at $245,500 and my interest rate is at 2.49%, which is extremely low, but I am very lucky that my renewal doesn't come up until my renewal doesn't come up till 2024 October. So fingers crossed it comes down a little bit, but we'll see. Like, you know, it is what it is. This is the volatility of the real estate market. So my total debt owing, short and long term, 19,321 plus 245.5 is ooh, geez, this pen is mad at me today for spilling all the goods about my debt. $264,821. I think this needs a big old yellow highlight, doesn't it? That is my current debt. So, whew, that's hard to see on paper, but again, this is part of the journey, isn't it? So, I'm gonna put my calculator to the side and I'm just taking a sip of water. Thank you. Thank you for letting me sip water as I talk. So I just want to I'm just going to check to see how long is this video so far. Oh, we're doing pretty good. I'm at 12 minutes. I've probably been talking really fast though, so I apologize if I have been. So I just kind of want to give a brief overview of what this is all about, why I'm in this situation that I'm in, and all of that. So it's important for me to start down here. So some back story. I just got a deep breathe here. Sorry, I'm still a little nervous with filming YouTube. I'm still getting used to talking on camera. And it's so funny because during my actual like day job, I present all the time and I'm relatively comfortable with it. This is just a different space for me. So I appreciate you having some patience for me. So it's important for me to start here. If you don't know from my previous videos, I am 34 years old and I purchased my home when it was about 3 or 4 days before I turned 25, actually, that I purchased my first home. I worked really hard in my teens and early 20s. Oh, geez, see, I'm like bumping cameras now. Now I gotta adjust it, I'm sorry. And honestly, guys, I'm filming this with like a really cheap ring light holder thing, so it's really unstable, but I'm just not at a point yet that I feel like I can justify spending like $250 on like really pretty stuff for my YouTube channel. I hope I get there, but I told myself, you know, once I hit maybe like 100 subscribers, I'll upgrade a couple things. But anyways, I bought my house when I was 25. A number of things got me there. I was working, I worked a part-time job since the moment I was able to. I think I was 14 when I had my first like legit job, not like under the table babysitting. I worked a bunch when I was in high school. During the summers, I had 2 to 3 jobs. Most summers I had 3 jobs. worked my butt off. I took a year off after high school. Here in Canada, at least when I was graduating, you could still, like, it was still pretty normal that some people would take 13, like go up to grade 13, but a lot of people still graduated grade 12. I stopped in grade 12 and then I took that year off to work. Whereas some of my friends still stayed on in high school because they wanted to essentially spread out their courses in their final year, which makes sense, right? So you could focus and get better grades and all that. But I decided to go work. And during my college and university, I had to go to both college and university for my career. I worked the whole time. I was able to pay most of my schooling up front. This student loan here that's at $3,400, essentially $3,400. This was around $9,000 when I had it. So, you know, the fact that I only had to take out about $9,000 to go to school, especially Ontario is not cheap for schooling. That was great. Like that, again, that was part of my, you know, working really hard when I was younger, and I owe it all to my parents for the way that they raised me and really pushed that part of me when I was younger, of just, you know, like, work hard now to make your life easier later. Well, that kind of, I don't want to say it backfired for me, because at the end of the day, my mentality back then and how hard I worked got me this. It got me the house I live in. I don't know. Again, it depends on where you're watching from. I'm sorry, I need to take another glass of water. I'm like still so nervous. Deep breath and glass of water. Again, thank you so much for being patient while I talk through this and get better at speaking on camera. I have so much gratitude for my previous self, my younger self, because I wouldn't have this house today if it wasn't for her and all of her hard work and everything that she went through. You know, I missed going to parties. I missed a lot growing up, which some people say is a bad thing. Some people say is a good thing. Everyone has a different opinion. It doesn't matter. For me, it got me where I am today. I am grateful. If you're not watching from Canada, you may not really have an idea of the housing market here in Ontario specifically. Again, I'm just outside the GTA. I'm about 40 minutes outside the GTA. My specific city has previously actually outbeat the majority of the GTA in housing prices for a multitude of reasons, but I won't go into that because I'm trying to remain somewhat anonymous at this point on my channel, but one day maybe I will open up more about that. However, when I bought my house, I was so lucky. And it's so funny because back then I bought my house for $347,000. And back then people thought I was nuts. People thought they were like, oh my God, you're spending so much. This house is so expensive. Like, you're insane. Like, how are you buying a house that's worth essentially $350,000? That 8-9 years ago was unheard of, right? Like, you didn't have houses that cost that much in this area. Like, you know, only our increase in our housing market in my community has only really gone up in the last 5 years. So I know how lucky I am that I got up and into this market when I did. And the fact that I have a mortgage of $245,000, I am forever grateful. And I know how lucky I am for that. So I appreciate not getting any comments about that. I worked hard for this. I bought it the right time. And I'll leave it at that. However, as I mentioned, I bought this just before I turned 25. The problem with that, which I owe everything to my parents. They were fantastic as I grew up. They taught me a lot of great lessons. But I think one thing in hindsight that I wish I just had more insight on before I bought the house was truly the cost of owning a home, especially owning a home by yourself. Especially on top of that, owning a home by yourself as a young female. I think it's something that's not talked enough about. I do plan on doing more videos about owning a home as a female when you're young, things to look out for. all of that. I also feel like I have an additional kind of insight there that maybe I can share with you in the future. When I first bought the house, the reason why I bought this specific house is because it had a basement apartment in it. So the only reason, like truly the only reason why I was able to afford this mortgage, and it is just me, I didn't have a cosigner, nothing like that. But the only reason why I was able to get it approved is because I went to a broker, not a traditional bank, and they were able to include the rental income from the basement apartment as part of my qualifying, which is a very smart way to obtain approval when you don't have a high income. You know, at that point, when I got my house, you know, I was making probably maybe $42,000 a year. And some of you who might be watching might hear that number and be like, holy crap, that's a high income. It's unfortunately, it's not a high income here in Ontario. The median income in this area is just that's pretty low. It's hard to live comfortably in Southwestern Ontario these days on $40,000. It's pretty much impossible. So again, I'm grateful for the fact that even at that time I had that kind of money. However, owning a home on that income is very challenging. For instance, within the first 2 years of home ownership, I had a leak in my basement that wasn't covered under insurance, and I had to replace my roof. Well, what happens then? This. Short-term debt. And on top of this, I did cat hair. Sorry. Every time I always have to like wipe my papers off because of, you know, if you have furry friends, you know. I did get some help from my parents back in the day. I've paid them back since, and I'm grateful to them that I got their help. But at the end of the day, you still, there's just so many things that come with home ownership that you don't even realize, like the bills, the cost of utilities. It was crazy. And, you know, that's really, when we really talk about specifically number 1 and number 4, again, this has gone way down, which I'm really, really grateful for, as well as my personal loan. This credit card here, really, I tried to just use it for like, I would put bills on it, like utility bills, and then try and pay it off as I went. But if I was behind on bills, I would use this. This home personal loan is really what I had to utilize for a lot of the issues in my home, because I wasn't able, at the time, I wasn't able to get a credit card, a credit card, available credit that was high enough to use that at 19% for issues on my home. So, you know, that's when I resorted to this, and like, this is awful. And I've done the math of how much money I've lost in interest over the years. I've had this loan for probably 7 years now, and it is painful to, I'm not even going to put it on paper because it's not part of this discussion, but personally, that moment for me was one of the moments that really forced me to where I am now, which is taking accountability for this, you know, looking at this dead in the eyes and focusing on getting this paid off this year. Was seeing how much money I've paid in interest over the years. It's really painful. I'll just say that. I'll just say that I would have been able to pay all this other debt off with the interest that I've paid on that. So we'll leave it at that. So that's really the reasoning for 1 and 4. Number 2, my previous computer, my previous iMac just completely crapped out. I had it for like 10 years. It was just time to go. So that's why I hate that I had to borrow to get a new computer. I wish I would have had the funds, which again is leaning into this new strategy of what I've learned in this YouTube community of focusing on sinking funds and things like that. So I'm really excited to start making a sinking fund for items such as a computer once, you know, this computer goes. I hope, I just hit my little stand. Sorry about that. I hope that, you know, I'll be able to be in a position where I can pay for my next computer in cash. That's the goal. Sorry, I was just grabbing a bit more water there. This computer, I know what the majority of you will probably say is, girl, why did you have to spend $2,500 on a computer? For my day job. Also, I don't talk about it on here, or I haven't talked about it on here yet. Maybe I will, but I've started an Etsy / Shopify store that I actually do like actual like artwork and graphic art and things like that. So I need to run pretty high-end programs, like AutoCAD and things like that. So it was important to get, you know, a pretty good computer. So I don't regret this purchase, but again, this is why. Need a new computer. Pretty self-explanatory. Number 3, student loan. We talked about that. I was lucky that I walked away with my education and still only owe that. But you know what? As you can see, when I first graduated, I think this interest was at like 4% and it's already gone up this much. So I just want to bang it out. Like it's, you know, it's at a point now where with my yearly income, I know I can knock this out this year. So I'm really excited to finally be able to say, like, I don't have any student loans anymore. So that'll be really exciting. We talked about number 4. And then personal. This personal credit card definitely was higher. I've paid it down quite a bit. This one is just, this is my stupid tax, as Dave Ramsey says. That's my stupid tax, this one right here. This is going on a couple trips over the years and just, you know, being able to pay for a lot of it in cash up front, but not just that last bit, you know, when you're on a trip and you're like, oh, but there's about $500-600 of spending, you know, that you just didn't budget for. That's on here. Clothing. I went through a very, 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 very terrible breakup about 4.5 years ago. And I took some debt on from that in the form of I ended up covering this person's covering a couple of their bills throughout our relationship that they were supposed to pay off on the card but never did. Honestly, me spending money because I was miserable, you know, bad shopping habits, all that. So I won't get too much more into that, but that's what this personal loan is. So this is my stupid tax. These items here, you know, I have a lot more compassion for myself with these. Number 5 is my stupid tax. So I'll leave it at that. If you're wondering, actually, let's switch to the red. If you're wondering, and I will do a separate video of my debt payoff plan, and when exactly I think I'm going to have everything paid off. I literally have assigned like months and days of when each one is going to be paid off. We'll see if I stick to it, but if you would be gracious to subscribe so you can get notified when I put that video up, that would be awesome. But if you are curious, I am going to be paying off Avalanche. I'm going to be doing interest rate, not Dave Ramsey, smallest to largest. If you're wondering why, it's because of this. Honestly, I keep moving this mug in because I'm like, ooh, look at my pretty mug. And then I'm like, wait, but you knock everything over and you spill. So get it out here. If this, you know, was maybe 19%, I'd probably bang it out Dave Ramsey style. This has got to go. This is my arch nemesis. And it might seem silly because of the balance, but like, it's the interest. This creeps up so fast. And, you know, for example, like this is almost double of interest that a traditional credit card is here in Canada. That's how painful this is. This has got to go first. I will say, once I pay this off first, I might give myself a bit of slack and start back at the lowest balance and work my way up snowball wise. But this has got to go. I can't. I did the math. I did literally every debt snowball avalanche payment calculator I could find online. I did probably 10 different versions of like what to pay off first and how much and whatnot. Every time I'm losing too much money on interest in this. I can't. So this is my number 1 for payoff. Again, like I said, initially, or as of right now, my payoff plan would be to then go to number 5, which is the next interest rate, then number 1, then number 3, then number 2. But that might change. I might decide, hey, you know what? Let's bang this out, the next paycheck and bang this out. We'll see. But this is my top priority. So that I wanted to mention at this point in the video as a great segue to the fact that I will be now probably filming literally in the next couple minutes. It's not too late. Well, it is, but I'm on a roll, right? So you might as well. I'm going to now film my debt payoff plan. I will actually probably film this digitally on my computer. I don't know yet. I'm going to probably maybe film it twice and see which version I'm more comfortable with. But that being said, this is where we're at, February 2023. I want to pay this off, ideally within 1 year, but if I go 1.5 years, I'm still going to be so happy with that. I know I can do it. I'm really excited. I know this community is going to help me so much, and cash budgeting and weekly budgets, I know is going to get me there, small steps at a time. So yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I appreciate you sticking through my long chatty video. I am really looking forward to hearing what's your take on my situation. How would you go about this? Do you agree with me? Would you be paying off this stupidly high interest rate first? Or, would you go smallest to largest? What are your thoughts? Can't wait to hear any insight you guys have for me, because really, at the end of the day, that's why I'm here. I'm here for your insight and your knowledge and your support. So appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope the next time I do one of these videos, we can get these dang numbers down and we can celebrate together. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.